What's up? How y'all doing?
What's going on, car guys and car gals? It's Lou Ramirez,
And it's Fred Lennartz.
and we're Brewing Solutions on the Car Guy Coffee Podcast. Excited to have a cup of coffee and a conversation. Excited about what is masterminding. I'm having fun over here in Kansas City, having some fun brewing solutions with some of our friends. And I'm excited. Fred, it looks like you're in the studio, brother.
I am in the studio. You went off to the great lands of Kansas City while I stayed home here in Kentucky. I had some stuff to take care of, and it was good. It was a long list of things to get done so that I could be ready for the next week coming up. We're going to be visiting a dealer at the end of this week, one of our favorites down there in Florida, St. Augustine, Bozard Ford, baby, right? And they are gearing up to have another record month. Can't wait to get down there. But today we got a special show, brother. I'm excited about this show. We got a special guest from a company, from a business that we've partnered up with over the last couple of years, and we're going to continue. Matter of fact, we're going to be at their booth for NADA the first 4 hours. So folks, if you're looking for some fun for the first 4 hours of the expo hall, get over there to their booth. Automotive Mastermind is doing big things. I'm excited to have the man, the myth, the legend on the show. I almost spilled the beans on who it is before we announced it, but I'm excited to have him on.
Well, I think they can probably see somewhere in the captions, maybe somewhere inside of the title. They know what solutionary it is that we have inside of the cafe today. We are pumped up to have a great conversation going, and there is so much that's brewing inside of the industry right now. And coming in from the Windy City, representing Automotive Mastermind, this certified solutionary is ready to brew solutions on the podcast. Help us to make welcome. You can throw a coffee cup emoji, you can throw some hand claps, you can throw some thumbs up, but make sure that you do tag a car guy,
tag a car gal,
and share. Make welcome to the show, the one,
the only Andrew Bournazos.
Let's go. Welcome to the party, brother.
Hey, thanks, gentlemen. Welcome. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. That was a great intro. Love it.
We appreciate you. Great intro for a great person, man. Super excited about having you on the show today. I know that what we're going to be talking about today is we're talking about what's currently happening with you guys, what's coming up in the future, but what you're most excited about, and learn a little bit more about you, my friend. I'm excited to tell everybody in our audience who you are a little bit too. So why don't you give everybody a little bit of that? Explain who you are, what you do over there at Mastermind, and how long you've been doing it.
Yeah, thanks so much. First and foremost, obviously, been in automotive for about 15 years now. But the thing that I'm most proud about is I'm a husband and dad, so I've got 2 young kids. My daughter just turned 4 last week. I've got a 7.5-year-old son, so that keeps me super busy with running around, sports, and all that goodness.
Sports.
Yeah. So it's basketball season right now, and like most kid sports, they seem to go year-round. So yesterday we were just doing a baseball hitting clinic, getting ready for spring ball, right? Here in November, getting ready for next year. So yeah, all the goodness.
Oh man, that's a good time, man. I love that you brought up family. There's something special about that. I miss that. My son is currently a senior in college, so going to sports, watching him play against other people, this just doesn't happen anymore, but I miss those days. I have a nephew right now that plays basketball and football, so I get to go see him quite often. So I know how that feels. So I'm excited for you, brother. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I mean, especially coming off a fantastic World Series. My Cubbies didn't make it, right? So I didn't have a dog in the fight, but that was a pretty exciting series to watch for sure.
Bro, one of the best series, if not the best series ever to go down in the World Series. Like, it was a full 7 games. It was like 18 innings in game 2, I believe it was 2 or 3. It was a huge game, and that was a big turning point. But then it flipped around again, and it looked like the Dodgers were about to be, it's not going to happen. And then literally, it was like half a split second that made the difference of the Dodgers making it or not. That was almost an out right there. It was an out, but it was almost not, right? And imagine if it wasn't. That was game over right at that moment. It was that close. It was like literally like foot there and touched it, tapped it, and the other. Oh my God. It was amazing to watch how it ended. And that, even the last game went extra innings. You couldn't write up a better script than that right there. It was pretty awesome, brother.
Yeah, man, it's great for baseball, and yeah, man, it's fun watching the kids. But but yeah, been in automotive for about 15 years. Like most, right? We kind of sometimes fall into automotive. It wasn't our game plan, but I graduated school back in 08, 09 with a finance degree. The market had just crashed, so it was difficult to find a job in finance. But one of my really good friends, shout out to my buddy Mike Hall, he was working and selling cars at a Hyundai dealership, and he said, "Hey, why don't you come on over, sell some cars? Whether you do it for a couple months, a couple years, it's your call." But got into it there and loved what I was doing. So started with like cars for clunkers and worked my way through different levels at the dealership with the Gerald Automotive Group here in Chicago. And then I made the leap of faith to go over to the auto finance side of the business. So spent about 6.5 years of my career with Capital One Auto Finance, bouncing around to different areas. I started doing kind of underwriting, credit analysis here in Chicago, and
Wow.
then I met my now wife, and about a couple months after meeting her, her company got bought out by a company in Florida. So I was lucky enough to be able to stay with Cap One, and then go become an area sales manager down in the Florida market. So we had our stint down in Florida. I know you mentioned you're going to be over at Bozard. That used to be my old market. I lived in St. Augustine Beach. Um,
Heck yeah.
yeah, man. So, and then 7 years ago, last month, I had started hearing about this name Automotive Mastermind in the market. And I started talking to some of my dealer partners that I was repping with Cap One and doing some research, and found a role and a good fit with them. And it's been a fun journey. So here we are 7 years later, and Mastermind's changed a whole lot, and out here trying to support our dealer partners and our end users as best as possible.
I love that.
I
What do
like
you,
it.
yes, a whole lot has changed. A whole lot has developed with Mastermind. A lot of great collaborations have come about from it. But I love when you say cash for clunkers. You were kind of throwing in that little like sore spot from back in the days, just kind of giving us a little history of where you've been, brother. And I appreciate you sharing that. And it is awesome. You worked for a great company, Capital One. What a great way to be able to reach out, because they were in every dealership. So you were definitely having a great chance to see what was happening, operating in all these different stores, and at great levels, because you guys, Capital One does full spectrum, my friends. And so they see a little bit of every type of deal. So it's pretty amazing. And they lead the way in the way that people buy in automotive. So it was really cool. I did a lot of business with Capital One when I was a finance manager, made a lot of money with them, and they made a lot of money with us same time. But more importantly, we helped a lot of clients be able to buy cars and make it affordable for them. So that was pretty awesome, brother. But then Mastermind, Mastermind, like you said, is developing. It's constantly growing. It's doing some big things. I absolutely love that. There's a really cool product right now. It's called CoPilot. I love
Yeah.
Mastermind CoPilot, and we'll get into that. And I'm excited to learn more about that and share that with my audience. I know that's something that everyone's really excited about going into this quarter. So tell everybody a little bit about what CoPilot is.
Yeah, so first and foremost, I'll tell you kind of why we created it, right? Our number
Yeah.
one goal at dealerships is to help create salesperson efficiency. It's near and dear to my heart, coming from the business, starting on the front line selling cars. And, honestly, people don't always know what the right thing to say is, right? Or sometimes it takes time to figure out what to say, or craft that perfect email or that perfect outreach. And we all know in the business, right? Time is money. And we wanted to create a solution that took all of our data insights on every single consumer, and with a click of a button, being able to auto generate an email script, a text script, a call script with all the pertinent data and information that makes Mastermind unique, and just allowing that salesperson either in one way to make them more efficient, right? So if they maybe do know what to say, but they just want to be able to get more touch points in a quicker fashion, they can do that. But what we often see in our business, right, a lot of turnover, a lot of newer people that have come into the business over the last couple of years, for those that maybe don't know what to say or how to say it, loading their lips, almost like a tenured sales manager or GM is telling them exactly what to say, but having that all automated in the background. So that's all integrated into our solution. So, imagine for a second, you're a salesperson, you see a customer that's engaging in Mastermind marketing, scanning QR codes, clicking through links, and you want to go and do your follow-up, right? You can just click on a button, and it'll take all those talking points that would be important to the consumer and get it out to them so that the customer can, communicate back and forth and get things going for them.
Absolutely. I mean, that's exactly what I think salespeople inside the stores, managers want their salespeople to have, because it makes it a lot easier to speak to people with pertinent information, right? At the right time. One thing you guys have is behavioral prediction scores. And I love that, right? And that's something that's really special. Being able to do that, it gives the dealer a clear way to understand when people are ready to buy, like based off of how their behaviors are, their buying patterns, all these different things that the data that you guys get, because you guys are definitely affiliated and teamed up and co-teamed up with a lot of great people to make sure that you guys deliver, to me, I think the best data in automotive, hands down, because of who you guys are with and teamed up with. So I think that's pretty amazing. You guys, you have a success story or something that somebody can, maybe something you heard through the grapevine, or maybe you've seen and witnessed that with this tool has helped somebody be able to take it to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm in and out of stores all the time. I'm fortunate to have an amazing account management team. We call them our dealer relations managers. So anyone that works with us knows they're dealer relations managers. These are boots on the ground individuals that are in the dealership working with the teams. It's not just remote and through a computer. So they're the real superheroes. But when I have time in my week and my day, I want to go spend time with some of our dealer partners. So I was just over at a dealership in the Chicagoland area this past week. And that was the biggest thing where they, the salesperson said, hey, I've always loved Mastermind. I've loved all the data and information. And, it can sometimes be a lot. And they just love this new feature where now they don't even have to train a salesperson on looking at the behavior prediction score, all the behavior drivers, just the ability to go in there. So they had a newer salesperson and they went into Mastermind. They assigned them, I think it was like 500 or 600 orphaned customers that really weren't being worked at the dealership, and said, hey, take it bite size, go out there, do like 20 touch points a day. At the end of 4 or 5 weeks, you'll be able to work through the set of 500 customers. And I got a text message later that week saying this salesperson using CoPilot was able to touch all 500 customers within the week, because it took them maybe 6 to 7 seconds for each customer to be able to go in there, hit it, and then move on to the next one. And through that, just that week, that person was able to schedule 12 appointments. And this was a new green pea salesperson that had only been selling cars for a few weeks. And now all of a sudden they have 12 at-bats with scheduled appointments. And the beauty of it is, it's not that, the historical automotive marketing where you send someone something like, hey, we'll give you 150% of your vehicle, or come in and we'll do this, where it's kind of that bait and switch thing. This is, they send them a communication saying, hey, here's where you're at today. Here's where we think you may, be having issues or pain points or priorities within the life cycle of your loan or lease. And here's exactly what your new deal is going to look like, along with a link to the customer's personalized landing page where they can go in there and view different models, different trim levels, play around with payment options, almost like our own internal digital retailing tool. So if a customer is going to react to that, right, they already see all the details of what's going on and what they can accomplish. So if they're willing to make an appointment and come in the store, it's not that they're just coming in just to kick the tires and get all the information. They're coming into that conversation like probably at third base already, if not already rounding for home. So that's what I love about the data piece, but then the CoPilot functionality, where you can get these valuable insights, and where marketing has always, historically been kind of static, right? You do a data pull, right? You do said marketing, and then whatever information's on there is what the customer sees, right? Where a dealership can go in mid-month and being like, man, I'm not pacing to where I want to be. Let me get aggressive on how I'm booking out my cars. Let me go a little bit deeper on my discounts. So when the customer then goes from that marketing onto their landing page, they see all the updated information that's out there, right? So being able to make that marketing dynamic and giving customers insights throughout the month.
Oh man, that's phenomenal, and that's really, really, really good, because when you're looking at results are what all people really care about, right? And I love that you just gave us a bunch of really good data there. I hope people were taking notes. I also want to throw out really quick, while we've been doing the show, you guys have noticed this QR code right here, right? This is the QR code to Automotive Mastermind, folks. I'm going to tell you, if something of this strikes your fancy a little bit, hit them up, go in there, get a demo of their product. If you're using, and this is going to be the next touch point. Lou, I'm sorry, I'm hogging all the questions, bro. My bad, homie. But but DriveCentric, is been a big integration of you guys. You guys have teamed up with them. I love it. DriveCentric's a big fan of, or we're a big fan of DriveCentric, I should say. And we love their CRM and what they do. But I knew the moment that they teamed up with you, that was going to elevate them so much. But it also puts you guys in front of a whole bunch of new people. And with what you guys do inside of the CRM is massive. I think that there's really a great space for you guys there to be able to help them be able to communicate even faster without having to add widgets and all these crazy add-ins and plugins and all this good stuff. What made you guys want to do that with DriveCentric? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think, one of our biggest things, and I think it was 2 years ago, our biggest initiative was opening up integrations. We know that's one of the biggest pain points in the automotive industry. Things don't talk to one another. If I'm a salesperson, I probably, and it's no joke, right? You guys do this every day. I may have to be in 8 to 10 different systems just to do my job on a daily basis, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
the ability to try to pull more things into a singular spot, have them talk to one another, was a huge thing that we wanted to have a win on. And then it was a bit bittersweet. A lot of people know Matt Leone, right? The CEO over at DriveCentric. He was our CEO for over 5 years over at Mastermind. And we knew when he went over there, that was going to be a huge priority for him and Aaron to work that out. And I just love the speed of it, right? Because being in this business, you hear of integrations and product enhancements and everyone gets excited. And then it's, 3, 6, 12 months down the line when, we can actually, have the dealer partners and customers, get all the goodness out of it. But this one accelerated super quickly. Both our engineering teams and Matt's engineering teams have really been highly focused on getting this up and running. And it just goes back to what I brought up before, which is how can we create efficiencies? How can we make sales team members more effective? And imagine for a second, right, by doing these small things, if each one of our sales team members can find another 1 to 3 units a month, when you multiply that across an average sales base of 10 to 12 salespeople, right, 30, 40 cars a month more times 12, like that's a huge difference in volume, in revenue, in helping out customers. We know one of the biggest challenges is it's not that these customers aren't having these pain points and it's being able to solve for all of them. You can only have so many resources, so many salespeople, and so many associates. So if we can create those efficiencies and be able to help out more people, that's the end goal of it all. So yeah, we just want to make things simple. We wanted the data to be able to live within that space where if I'm get a CRM task list, right, I can see, this customer scores a 90 behavior prediction score, and I can see the marketing they received from Mastermind. Like, that's crazy to think about. I remember when I first started selling cars, I probably got 5 or 6 phone ups a week where the customer would be like, hey, I got this piece of mail, or I got this marketing piece. I'd be like, awesome, tell me what you're looking at, right? And now with a click of a button, it can be like, hey, absolutely, Mr. Customer, I just pulled up that offer we sent you out. Let's go through it line by line, make sure we're fully aligned here. I don't want to waste your time and have you come into the store, right? If it's not something we can help you out with, and just completely align with that consumer. So just some of those things that just sound so simple in theory, but it's been a major pain point and issue in our industry. And through our DriveCentric integration and what Mastermind's doing from a data perspective, we're hoping that we can really solve on that.
And I think that's something that you guys are doing, literally, no pun intended, at a master level. It's exciting, and I love all the actual correlations we can use with baseball. You used it as at bats, right? That's how you described it. Giving our team, giving our people, giving our people that are wanting to serve the community at a high level and effectively, efficiently, and making sure that we're actually moving the needle on all the things that we want to move the needle on. It's like a well-oiled team. You cannot win the championship without assembling all of the right teammates that are into that team, much like many of the technologies that get integrated together to help affect the actual way that we do business. Not just add another tool, not just put another great player inside of the game, but in order to actually see an increase. I love just that little bit, 3 more per person. What does a tool look like if it actually did that? Car guys, car gals, I'm going to keep it real. If you're sitting next to somebody, look at them and just say, you need to keep it real, because we need to keep it real. We've added a lot of tools. We've added a lot of technology. We had a whole lot of extra data, and we know a whole lot more. Yet a lot of the averages haven't changed because we haven't really looked at how do we actually perform at that better level when we have all this information. And what we love about how you all are integrating with people that get the engagement, like a DriveCentric, like all of the other companies that you team up with, you're making sure that we're not just adding stuff for the sake of adding it. We're adding it along with adding a new mental mindset to how it is that we approach taking care of people, because that's the part that has to shift to us. It's not enough for us to have smart technology. We have to get smarter with our technology and let our technology make us smarter, which is exactly where the whole AI conversation is going, right? We're getting smarter and smarter, and we're teaching our computers to get smarter and smarter. Why? Because we want to be able to see actual growth, and we want to be adapted for what's changing. This is very exciting to talk about, and this is an exciting time, just like this is an exciting time to watch what's happening inside sports, to watch a World Series do its thing. But we're inside of a critical and fun time inside of automotive, where this evolution of the customer with the way that we do business is all changing. And people like those of you over at Automotive Mastermind, whether Andrew and all the other leaders that are out there, are starting to actually be able to see, hey, this doesn't have to end here. Just like for the Dodgers, right? It's not just one championship we're going for, right? We're going to try to keep finding a new way to win and win better and more effectively. And if we got to add another player to the team, let's add another player to the team to help take us to the next level. And you guys are staying open to that. And this industry right now is we're looking with great anticipation of all of the great things that are on the horizon for us. And as 2026 is closely coming, our Super Bowl is closely on its way over at NADA. What are people going to be excited about being able to hear from our stage, in your stage over at the Automotive Mastermind? What should they be looking forward to hearing about that's on the horizon?
Yeah, we have a lot of exciting stuff. We've hit on some of it already. We're really excited about a new solution that we're going to be announcing at NADA. I'm not going to completely unravel all the details, but it's just going to create even more efficiencies, almost like a landing page, right? Where a general manager would be able to look at it and say, okay, I'm halfway through the month, right? Maybe I'm not pacing to where I want to be. Where does the opportunity live within Mastermind, right? What customers are engaging in campaigns, right? How many customers do I have coming in for service over the next 24 to 48 hours with a certain behavior prediction score, with a trade-in I'd love to get super aggressive on, right? All those insights in one singular spot, because we know at the end of the day, right, not every salesperson's equipped to maybe go and find all this information super seamlessly, but being able to have a leader that can then take that and say, like, push a preset filter into a user's dashboard saying, all right, I already did this filter, click this button, and it's going to auto-generate and show you every lease customer that has between 2 and 6 payments remaining, that is already over on their lease mileage allowance, that's been verified by Carfax, that still owns their vehicle, that we can go keys for, right? I need you to reach out to all these customers using CoPilot over the next 24 to 48 hours, right? So giving them that kind of landing board dashboard to just pour fuel on the fire. So that's going to be a lot of what we're talking about. Of course, NADA is always super exciting, right? Lots of great leaders from across the industry will be there. And we're starting to help more and more dealer partners out with data as a service, and activating some of their data warehouses or snowflakes or CDPs, where it's one thing to get all the data in one spot, right? But being able to use our machine learning and AI algorithm that's been around now for almost 13 years, that gets pressure tested every single week through our registration data, to be able to say, hey, how can we take that, layer our intelligence on top of your data warehouse, and then activate marketing out to those personas that you need to help to go drive it. So that's a big thing we're helping solve for. So I think a lot of the conversations with dealer groups that we're having today is going to just accelerate into NADA as people are trying to figure out how to solve for, once I get all my data in one spot, what do I do with it?
And I love that point, Andrew, because the question that I believe that many managers sitting inside of their chair doing the day, they're working deals, they're trying to put together the day, they're responding to the day, right? And they're trying to make things happen and project a bit into the future. But let's just be honest, a lot of our business, we are reactive. We're reacting to what's happening inside of the market, and we're adjusting and we're making things happen. You give the data that helps them actually be able to know what steps to be able to take to be ahead of the curve and to know what to plan for. But what do you say to those that are trying to figure out how to actually begin using those tools? Because there's a learning curve that these managers are going to have to go through in order to help put together the right campaigns, to be able to activate the tools in their direction. What kind of a training setup or onboarding do you have for those managers that have these awesome tools in their hand to be able to be dispatched, knowing the direction in which that they need to go with these tools?
Yeah, that's a great point, right? And I think there's a lot of great tools and solutions out in the marketplace. One area that Mastermind has continued to invest heavily, where a lot of other companies have pulled back and maybe haven't gotten back to the levels of when they had to make adjustments during, COVID and inventory shortage, is our account management team. So when you partner with Mastermind, you're going to get an extension of your sales management team and someone at Mastermind. Last time I looked, right, about 90% of our dealer relations managers have retail automotive experience. So they've been in a sales manager role, they've sold cars, they've worked F&I, they've ran dealerships. So you're not just getting someone that, just graduated college, who's never stepped into a dealership, who's never sold a car. So you're going to get these support people. So you would ask from an onboarding perspective. So one of the first things, obviously, when we onboard a new dealer partner, there's a lot of data cleansing and enrichment. Making sure we have all the integration keys all set up appropriately, building out that household demographic. But about a week or two in, after you partner with Mastermind, your teams are going to get a link to what's called Mastermind Academy. So what we encourage our new dealer partners to do is to get their team members in there, watch some quick hit videos, start to get the foundation of what Mastermind is, so that when we arrive at your dealership for our in-store lunch, using another baseball analogy, you get most of the teams on like second base, right? They kind of know what we do. They know what behavior prediction score is. They get the data piece of it. So now we can start the blocking and tackling of saying, hey, how can you use this data on a day-to-day basis? And that doesn't stop at launch, right? Typically in the first month, right, the DRM is going to be there quite regularly. But then moving forward, even our partners that have been on with us for, 10, 11, 12 years, they still see their DRM every single month for a strategy session, right? Of course, to go over reporting ROI. And they're not just coming into saying like, hey, how's it going? Here's some, Dunkin' Donuts, have a great day, have a great month. It's like, hey, I noticed this, or hey, majority of your user activity is within this behavior prediction score range, or when you do this on your discounts or this on your book values, you get X amount more engagement. So they're coaching them how to then go into the back end of the settings and saying, what can you do to make Mastermind as successful as possible? Of course, we'll do that from the top down, right? Because we want to make sure we're empowering the leaders at the dealership to be believers and to train their people, right? So kind of, in a way, training the trainer. But it's not, unrealistic for our DRMs to go and sit with a salesperson and saying, hey, let's sit down, hop into Mastermind, and let's bang out some phone calls together, right? Let's pick up the phone, right? Let's go in here and look for this opportunity. And it's no doubt, when I look at a dealership's reporting within a week of a DRM visit at the dealership, their user activity is higher, right? Their attributions are higher. Their customer engagement is higher, right? So that training element is something we hold true to our heart. It's part of our DNA and something that we're going to continue to lean on, because we know the makeup of dealerships, and a lot of times it's hard to get someone to jump on a Zoom or a phone call, right? But when you're sitting at their desk and you're in their dealership, it's kind of hard to be ignored.
I love that. That's such a good answer
to
to that. I love that. And that is a great policy to have. Your DRMs are doing it right. And if you're out there and they're actually literally training all the time, because you do, it's not one-time training. Training isn't something we did, it's something that we always do. Right. And if you constantly do that with your dealer partners, they're going to love you for it. To your point, you could bring Dunkin' Donuts and that's all great. But if they're not using the product and they're not growing with the product and they're just wasting money, they're going to cut you. And they should. And you should want them to if you're not delivering something to them. But when you're able to show them and get them excited, go in there and train the trainers. I love that you said that, because that is one of the most crucial things for all of us out there who are working with dealers. We need to train the trainers, because if they're not doing it and they don't know it, they're not going to show it and they're just going to throw it. Right. I made it rhymes for you, Lou. But
they ain't going to grow it.
But it's the truth, right? But it is, you're making, and I love that you guys do that. And you guys are, I mean, coming from the experience and talking about how they had retail experience too, that is so crucial for a lot of dealers out there. And I believe that is a thing that is necessary. You don't have to be a good sales rep to be had been in a dealer, but if you want to go in and actually get them to use it, you have to have their perspective. And if you don't have a perspective of what they go through on trying to onboard this and trying to train on this and trying to utilize the tool, then it sounds, an idea is a great idea until you have to do it. And if you're actually out there doing it and showing them, you'll know what the pain points are going to be. You could fix it. Hey, real quick, I got to throw out some Brian Ortega's throwing in here. And he says that, is Lou max headroom or is it just me? Yes, I did hear a little bit of the max headroom. I don't know if you heard it over there, Andrew, but it was a little bit of max headroom. But that's that's okay. When we record these, it records the individual things too. So we'll have a great copy of this later, my friends. So don't worry about it. But sometimes we go through it. And Lou, he's out there making it happen right now in Kansas City. I love it. I appreciate you, Lou. But no, this is, it's what we're talking about here is the way that things should always be. I love that Mastermind is doing that. And I love how you talked about having clients for 10 years, 10, 11 years. That's huge, folks. And just knowing that people stick with somebody that long, it's not because their friends are bringing them Dunkin' Donuts, because they utilize the tool and they're growing with their tool, or they would have dropped them a long time ago. So I appreciate you sharing that story.
Yeah, no, and that's a good point you bring up, right? And we have had partners in the past, right, that have left us for different reasons. Obviously, some of the obvious ones, right, when employees were furloughed or inventory shortage or a million different reasons, right? So I definitely invite those dealer partners that maybe used us 3, 4, 5 years ago that know us from back then to schedule some time and take another look at what we're doing today and what we can do. Especially if you're part of a dealer group, some of the really amazing things we could do from unifying customer data, enriching that data, and making it actionable. Like we've spoken about, right? The growth of AI, we like to call it actionable insights, because we want to make sure we know that great data and AI works best with human interaction, especially in the car business. It's still, right, a customer's typically second biggest purchase that they're making, like outside of a home, and some customers want to take it A to Z online, and I think a lot of dealerships are set up for that. But the lion's share of them, want to talk to a human being, want to make personal connections. And this is what we do here at Mastermind, right? We want to provide the data, the resources, the information, but we still believe that we can put together the best marketing campaign with the best insights. But if someone's not picking up the phone and trying to bridge the gap and get that customer from the 5-yard line into the end zone, right? Like, it's a miss. So we want to continue to help out there, provide those insights. And we know that, AI is all the talk on the town. We're super proud that we've been using machine learning and AI since we launched as a company.
For real.
And it's the data that pumps in that's so important. And, I was listening to a recent podcast, and what I really loved about it is, they brought up the idea of how do you pressure test this information? And what I love is, being that Polk is one of our sister companies, and one thing they've been doing since 1920 is getting every vehicle registration from every county every single month. So we know every customer's trade cycle. So say 3 years ago, we had someone at an index or BPS score of here, and then all of a sudden they bought a car, right? We can go back and pressure test to see what were those leading behavior drivers going on in that household that maybe we missed. So what BPS was 5, 6 years ago is not what BPS is today, because it's getting pressure tested, it's getting smarter, the data is getting better. So it's not it's not just having the data, right? A lot of companies can go out and get data and information, but it's what you're able to do with that data and how you can pressure test that data month in and month out, just to make the solution even more viable and offering results to our dealer partners.
It's so true. It's so good. There's so many correlations to sports that we still want, right? And at the end of the day, and Andrew, you did great even from football. And I absolutely, because at the end of the day, all that we're trying to do is maximize the opportunity for service. But at the end of the day, the ball is in their hands. The ball is in their court for them to do what it is that they're supposed to do with the data, to help who it is that they're supposed to help, to deliver it where it's supposed to go, and to let them be the biggest ones. We might be the ones inside, but man, when somebody shows up to it and enjoys themselves, and has a great time, I mean, they feel like the winner of the game, regardless of what the people on the field did. And that's how we want our customers to be. We have our salespeople, we have our managers on the field doing incredible stuff when they have the ball in their hand. We're just trying to help maximize what they do when that opportunity is in their hand. So, Andrew, we appreciate masterminding over there, and we Moneyball. It is very important. This is the car game, and we're so thankful that there's key players like Automotive Mastermind and like so many others that are doing what it takes to truly brew. We are so thankful for you taking some time to brew solution today, to have a cup of coffee and a conversation. How do people get a hold of you if they want to brew with your mastermind in the future and be able to see advance themselves going forward?
Yeah, so easiest way, automotivemastermind.com. You can click get a demo. They can scan the QR code up in the corner of the screen. I have my cell phone in my hand most points of the day. My direct line is 412-822-4483. So one of those three ways. If you maybe worked with us before, reaching out to your dealer relations manager is a great way to get in contact with us, and we'll get you in touch with the right people to have a good conversation, understand what you're trying to go after. And we recognize firsthand that no two dealerships are the same. No two dealerships have the same pain point, even within the same DMA or demographic. So let's sit down, have a chat, understand what you're trying to unpack and what you're trying to accomplish. And hopefully we can help out and be a great partner for all you that are listening out there.
Awesome, man. That's some really great stuff. So as we're rounding third and getting ready to slide into home, I really appreciate you coming out here and having some fun with us. I can't wait for this to keep scoring with you guys. And folks, touchdowns can keep coming. All you got to do is hit this QR code and get set up for some greatness for you and your team. Get some really good data, get some really good opportunities for your team to be able to take it to the next level and kick that field goal. All right. So anyway, let's have some fun. Let's get out of here. But before we go anywhere, brother, we always forgive and we focus and we fly. We like to drop F-bombs in the building. And I don't know if you've learned these yet, but you're about to. And it's as simple as wiping off the weight of unforgiveness. We're going to get focused. We're going to fly and we're going to keep growing. So do it with us and we'll get on out of here, brother. Hands on the shoulders. Right. Count of three. 1, 2, 3. Forgive. Focus. Fly. And keep growing. Thank you all for joining in with us. I am Fred Lennartz.
And I am Lou Ramirez.
And we are brewing with the one.
On the Car Guy Coffee Podcast.
With the one.
The only.
Andrew Bournazos.
Let's go.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate the time. Have a great day.